Well, Shabbat Shalom, everyone. It's another Sabbath. We've made it. And we are here. Let me see if my Facebook Live is going. Shabbat Shalom. Where's my camera at? Okay, right on. We're here. We're live. And we are hanging out to do a Proverbs discussion on chapter 15. I was reading through it last night and really spoke to me a lot on my personal behavior, on how I am to talk to my wife, to my children, to others, and bridling or controlling the tongue, because there's life and death in the power of the tongue. So that's what we're going to be talking about. And I've got two cameras here because one's going to Facebook and one's going to YouTube. So I might be looking back and forth for viewers. So, and if you'd like to come on the Google Hangout panel, I'd love to get you involved. Shabbat Shalom, guys. Hope y'all are having a wonderful day so far. If y'all want to come on the panel, let me know. I'll invite you on and we can have a discussion. Today's Hangout is meant to be just that. It's meant to be a discussion to where we can just learn from one another. You know, iron sharpens iron. So I'm all about adding value to other people's lives, being an aspiration and an inspiration to other people, especially our next generation, this youth, you know, this digital age that we're all caught up in. And well, I want to use this digital technology as a means to our advantage so we can help people. And I'm trying to hook up my microphone here. So if you guys are on YouTube and you're watching me from there, Shabbat Shalom to all of you on Facebook, or may peace on this day of Sabbath rest be unto you. I want to hook up my mic so the audio is much more clear, but I want to do it on my YouTube. So I'm going to go over here to my YouTube channel real quickly and see what we got going on. I might have to mute myself on here, but you guys just bear with me for a couple of seconds. These are kind of the troubleshooting live while we do this. There we go. All right, Tony, Shabbat Shalom. Jesse, Shabbat Shalom. Angela Johnson, Lynn Powell, Dad, Shabbat Shalom to you all. And I guess what I'll do is I don't want to mess up the recording on the YouTube, so I'll just plug this microphone here in my telephone and use that. Run it up here so y'all don't have to see that wire. Man. Let go. Here we go. I think my microphone is finally on its last leg. So might have to get a new one here soon. All right. Yeah, the hair's not fixed. I've had my hat on all day, so might have to put that bad boy back on. Proverbs 15 is the discussion today, and I've got a lot of notes. I'll be doing some screen sharing just so you, the viewers, can follow along with me here on the YouTube channel, Facebook. If you guys are watching me live, if you want to follow along, grab your old King Jimmy, NIV, scriptures, whatever it is you're using, and turn with me to Proverbs chapter 15, and we'll begin. I'm going to pop out my chat here so I can follow along with people who have any questions or engage with me via YouTube. So 1 second while we get started. Okay. I think we have everything ready to go. I put the link to get to the YouTube out on Facebook, so if you guys don't want to watch it from Facebook, you're more than welcome to hop on YouTube. And again, in either chat room, if anybody wants to hop on to have a live discussion, a panel, I'd love to get you involved to hear your inputs and your comments, because those are just as important to me. And it also makes me feel like I'm not the one just up here rambling. So you're more than welcome to get on the Google Hangout with me and have the discussion with me, because I want us to be all involved with one another. I don't want me to be the only one talking, so I can't interact unless you guys are chatting with me via chat rooms on either Facebook Live or the YouTube channel. So if you don't want to get on the camera, please engage with the comments in the chat section below, so I can verbally read those off to people, and so I can answer questions, or just try to get you involved in any way, because that's what it's about, is us. We're all people, in my opinion. We're all people. We're all in this body of Messiah. For those who are children of the Most High El, Yahweh, Elohim. And I don't look to exalt myself over anybody else. And I've been truly trying to learn the definition of service, serving those who also serve. And so Yeshua said that whoever is greatest among you, let him be least, let him serve. So it's really easy to sit back behind this table and do this live stream. What about service? What about sacrificing, giving selflessly? What can we do to make an impact in our community? What can we do to make an impact in other people's lives? How can we leave our mark upon other people so that way they can truly see that light that's within each one of us? So Proverbs 15. Is where we'll begin. I'm going to screen share that. At any moment, if you want to come on, just let me know. Okie dokie. So hopefully you should be seeing my screen here. So these are my notes. We can go as deep as you want to go, because that's what this day is about, is serving our King and learning about him, spending it together with time and fellowship. And that goes for you too, my wife and children who are out there on the patio. If y'all have something to say or want to come in here and say something, shout through me from the patio. And just a reminder that the word Proverbs, as you see right here at the top, is Strong's Hebrew number 4912, and it's mashal. And the Strong's dictionary says that it's apparently from Strong's Hebrew number 4910, in some original sense of superiority in mental action, properly a pithy maxim, usually of metaphorical nature, hence a smile, as an adage, poem, discourse. Parables is another word. Proverbs is a word. So the book of Proverbs, Mishle. What is a proverb, a maxim, a parable? Yeshua had used parables to convey the truth, make it relatable in a sense where the people could understand it. So those who have ears to hear and have eyes to see and their hearts are open, let us understand the words of the Most High, so that way we can sharpen one another, and so that we can pursue righteousness, train ourselves up in righteousness, so we can also be an example for others to be trained up in righteousness. So Father Yahweh, we thank you for this Sabbath day of rest, and we thank you for allowing your people through technology such as this to be able to come together where they don't have an assembly to go visit, or they don't have anybody to fellowship with in person. We ask that you unite us together with each other, even though we're not physically present with one another. And I just pray for the safety and well-being over all of those who will tune in and watch this either live or in a future recording. We thank you for everything that you're doing in us and through us, Father Yah. And I pray that, Yahweh, you would open up our eyes and ears so we can be sensitive to your spirit, to your word, to hearken unto the things which you had said to us through the Torah and the prophets and the other writings. Let us be able to understand your word by those who wrote it, from those who were there, when they had this living document that's sharper than any two-edged sword. Father, I just ask that you allow it to pierce our hearts so we can draw closer to you, so we can be a light to the nations and be effective salt that's not tasteless, but it has a purpose to serve. And that purpose is to serve others as you came here, not to be served, but to serve. So we thank you. And we ask that you bless us, be with us as we guard your word and your covenant. We treat it with honor and respect. Pray this in Yeshua's name. Hallelujah. Amen. So, Mashal, it's the Mem, the Shin, and the Lamed, as you can see on my screen here. I'm going to make this a little bigger in case that's straining on your eyes. I know it's going to be a little tough to see. Here we go. So we got the Mem, the Shin, the Lamed. Look here, its action means rule. We get an abstract word, dominion. The dominion one rules over. Also, the comparison of things as a rule of measurement. We get our English word marshal from this Hebrew word mashal. Whitney, Shabbat Shalom to you. Tell Justin Shabbat Shalom. Hope you are doing well. So here's our word mashal for a proverb. It's rule, compare, to compare one thing to another in the sense of a rule of measurement, often a proverb or parable. Gary, Shabbat Shalom to you. Remember that Yeshua spoke in parables, often to compare one thing to bring us the truth in a plain, simple view. Often a parable or proverb as a story of comparisons. You know, he was able to convey the scriptures in such a manner that we could understand it, because the word is not too hard for us to do, but it's easy. Take up my yoke. Proverbs 15:1. A soft answer turns away wrath, but a harsh word stirs up displeasure. So the word soft is Strong's Hebrew number 7390, and it's rock. The resh and the kaf says it comes from Strong's Hebrew number 7401, meaning tender, which could be literally or figuratively, by implication weak. And Alicia Shabbat Shalom to you. So rock being tender, we can go over here to scriptures and we'll pull that up. This is where your this book right here, the Englishman's Hebrew Concordance to the Old Testament. I'm showing the Facebook viewers, so you guys can't see this on my YouTube because I'm screen sharing, but the Englishman's Hebrew Concordance of the Old Testament. But we can do that right from our eSword program. If we go to the binoculars, and I already forgot the Strong's Hebrew number we're looking at, 7390. We go to the binoculars here. Shabbat Shalom, Deborah Elms. So we're going to type in H7390. Lovely wife, Shabbat Shalom to you. Shabbat Shalom. She's out there on the patio, so I can just tell her that way too. So we can pull up everywhere where this word 7390 rock is used, and it's going to highlight it for us in yellow there to show us. And we can look at the examples of the context it's used in. So we see it's used as faint-hearted, tender, weak. Look how King David describes his son. And Dawid said, Solomon, my son, is young and tender, and the house to be builded for Yahweh. And all these words that I'm not repeating to you are italicized, meaning they're added by the translators. Says that it must be exceedingly magnifical of fame and of glory throughout all countries. I will therefore now make preparation for it. So Dawid prepared abundantly before his death. Talking about the building of the house of Yah, the temple. Look at Job. Will he make many supplications unto thee? Will he speak soft words unto thee? Proverbs 4:3, for I was my father's son, tender and only, beloved in the sight of my mother. Proverbs 51, a soft answer, turn away wrath, but grievous words stir up anger. And that's the focus on today's discussion here. Anybody who's on Facebook, if y'all want to jump on and be a part of the discussion live, let me know. I'll invite you on because, like I said at the beginning, for those who tuned in late, that's what I want this to be about, is a discussion. Iron sharpens iron, so I'm looking at the tongue, our speech, how we interact, and how we talk to one another. So this word, again, we're going to look at it back on my notes. So pictographically, and I'm using Jeff Benner's Ancient Hebrew Lexicon of the Bible. For the viewers, that is this book. I lost my cover, but it's this book right here. And it's number 1448 AN. So we can go in here, look at 1448. Looks like it's going to be on page 260. 260. Bottom left-hand corner. Concretely, it means loins. We don't know what it is abstractly at the two-letter root, but the resh and the calf, when both those two words are combined, it means man covered. The reproductive organs of the male, including the lower abdomen, which are always covered. Ryan Lincoln, Shabbat Shalom to you. And it told us to look at section AN. So if we go down to A, concretely it means tender, the tenderness of the loins. So as anybody knows, whether you're male or female, I'm sure when you get kicked in the crotch, it doesn't hurt. I mean, it hurts. Not it doesn't hurt. It does hurt. It's very tender down there. But it's to convey the action of the tenderness of what it means. So tender. So that's where we get the Strong's translators in the King James, that faint-hearted, tender, weak, to express of how it means to be soft and tender. And we can also look in the etymological dictionary by Hirsch if we want to further dive into that word. But it says up here that to be soft. So Solomon identifies the power of one's words and contrasts the clear difference between a soft answer and a harsh word. A soft answer, therefore, speaks of a response that is done in a tender and delicate manner, which certainly does not show weakness, but it shows a mature strength in the word. How often do we find ourselves reacting in an aggressive manner to words or actions that we did not like or approve of? Reacting in a harsh manner as opposed to a tender and delicate one can fuel a fire of displeasure and start a verbal or even physical battle that only leads to harm and loss. With Solomon telling us that a soft answer turns away wrath, we can and must learn how important our response to aggression is. There may be times when someone comes at you with harshness and malicious intent, and the best way to turn the wrath away is to give a soft, tender, delicate, and controlled response, as opposed to an irrational response that is done with harshness and malice. So look at the New Testament, also referred to as the Brit Hadashah. We got James chapter 1, verse 19. So then, my beloved brothers, let every man be swift to hear, slow to speak, slow to wrath. Verse 20, for the wrath of man does not work the righteousness of Elohim. The wrath of man does not work the righteousness of Elohim. And Wrath, I think, speaking scripturally, is just being, I don't think it means like physically violent, although it can take on that connotation, but I believe it's talking about, just being with an evil intent or a hatrous intent or, an angered intent, always being temperamental, irritated, frustrated. And hey, look, I used to have those problems, and oftentimes in the past, I would be corrected by my wife many times. Sometimes I still am. And it's a work in progress. I'm not exempt to any of this, but I do my best to try to think before I speak and think of what I'm going to say before I say it. And I'm not perfect, and I sometimes mess up. And I try to quickly own that mistake and learn from it. My wife is a lot more tender and softer than I am, and she's probably a greater example than I am myself that I should learn by and take notes of. But look at Ecclesiastes chapter 5 at verse 1. It says, "Guard your steps when you go to the house of Elohim," that is the house of Yahweh, "and draw near to listen rather than to give the slaughtering of fools, for they do not know that they do evil." He's speaking of a people that, busybodies, slanderous words from people, it's like spreading wildfire. This man, Solomon is telling to go draw near and listen rather than to give, the slaughtering of fools, for they do not know what they do evil. Do not be hasty with your mouth, and let not your heart hurry to bring forth a word before Elohim. For Yahweh is in the heavens, and you are on the earth. Therefore let your words be few. For a dream comes through the greatness of the task, and a fool's voice is known by his many words. I just realized that my little chat section isn't up here. Here we go. Yep, I don't know if y'all can see that. I'm going to make this little chat box small so I can continue reading. Oops. Hang on, guys. So he says that, and a fool's voice is known by his many words. A fool's voice is known by his many words. You know those that like to talk too much. I learned that you can sit at a conference table with many leaders, and when great leaders speak last, it does show their characteristic traits because they know they'll be heard, but they're given the opportunity for letting everyone else speak so they can share their thoughts. And that lets others know that they're also felt important by letting them voice their opinion. Ecclesiastes 5, verse 5. It is better not to vow than to vow and not pay. We can actually go back and reference the Torah in Deuteronomy 28, I believe, on that verse. Do not allow your mouth to cause your flesh to sin, nor say before the messenger of Elohim that it was a mistake. Why should Elohim be wroth at your voice and destroy the work of your hands? Do not allow your mouth to cause your flesh to sin. We see Peter oftentimes getting rebuked or getting corrected because usually, as a lot of people would say, he would open mouth and insert foot. It's almost as if you could take the words that you're speaking right back and taste them before they went out, because our words are very powerful. Our heart, the intent of man, formulates words that are in his thoughts to express and convey himself to other people through words, through arranging different letters to formulate words, to put together sentences, to be able to talk to people. So in the power of the tongue, there is life and death. Ecclesiastes 5 and verse 7. I have thought upon my ways and turned my feet to your witnesses. Oh, I'm sorry. That was Psalm 119. Ecclesiastes chapter 5, verse 7. For in much dreaming and many words there is futility, but fear Elohim. Psalm 119, verse 59. I have thought upon my ways and turned my feet to your witnesses. So we must always consider our paths. So just remember here that the opening verse of Proverbs 15:1 is a very powerful and sobering reality of how words can either turn away wrath or stir up anger. And we must learn to bridle our tongues, as we also take note that when some who always have something to moan and grumble about, it may just be a sure sign that sin is present in their own lives. And it's not to cut down that brother or rebuke them, but it's to build them up, show them, help them along the way, bear each other's burdens, take them by the hand and guide them. You know, it's why my channel art on my YouTube channel says, let us journey together. You think of the Navy SEALs and you look at some of these men who become so great, and it's because they're willing to give their life for the very person next to them. And that's what I think it's in Romans 5:7. Let me see. Well, verse 8, Romans 5:8. But Elohim proves his own love for us in that while we were still sinners, Messiah died for this. There was a verse I was looking for in that, yet while, let me find it. There's no greater love than this. One is willing to lay down his own life. And so if you think about, you know, the military service, they're trained to do just that. And that is to lay down their life for someone they barely even know, you know? And yet they're called brothers and sisters in the military. Here we are in this body of Mashiach, and we call each other brothers and sisters. We should be willing to give selflessly of ourselves in order to serve others, not out of selfish intent, but to showcase the light and the love of Messiah within us to other people. And, you know, that speaks volumes here in my own family. We should be willing to lay down our own life for our own family members within our household first, and go beyond and go out into the nations for other people. No one is greater. No one has love. John 15:13. Greater love has no one than this, that he lay down his life for one's friends. There is no greater love than to lay down one's life for one's friend. There's a friend who is closer than a brother, and that is Yeshua, the Messiah. And so let's read James chapter 3. Starting at verse 1. Jesse, I see your comment. Yes, this is true. Brothers in arms. Yeah, I didn't even think. I forgot you're in the army. And you developed this camaraderie. It's just unique, and I think we should have that. And it's, you know, you're trained to lay down your life for someone you barely know, but how can we take that same attitude and apply it here in our body? Because sometimes I still feel like, yep, we talk about these things, but we really just don't know how to be an effective servant unto Elohim, and that's all he desires. And I'm not saying that there's not people like that out there. There's many. James 3:1. Not many of you should become teachers, my brothers, knowing that we shall receive greater judgment. For we all stumble in many matters. If anyone does not stumble in word, he is a perfect man, able also to bridle the entire body. Look, we put bits in the mouths of horses for them to obey us, and we turn their body. Look at the ships too. Although they are so big and are driven by strong winds, they are turned by a very small rudder wherever the pilot intends. So too the tongue is a little member, yet boasts so greatly. See how a little fire kindles a great forest? And the tongue is a fire, the world of unrighteousness. Among our members the tongue is set, the one defiling the entire body, and setting on fire the wheel of life. And it is set on fire by Gehenna. For every kind of beast and bird, of reptile and creature of the sea is tamed and has been tamed by mankind. But no man is able to tame the tongue. It is unruly, evil, filled with deadly poison. With it we bless our Elohim and Father, and with it we curse men who have been made in the likeness of Elohim. Out of the same mouth proceed blessing and cursing. My brothers, this should not be so. He's saying, don't be a hypocrite. Don't be double-minded. You know, even the Messiah said, let your yes be yes and your no be no. Your mouth can get you caught up into a deeper hole by the words you speak. We haven't even gotten to Proverbs 15:2 yet, but we are. Proverbs 15:2. The tongue of the wise makes knowledge good, but the mouth of fools pours out foolishness. I just want to hang out in these little areas right here and just really think on these verses. Because have you ever met someone who can't talk, you know, or even a deaf person who hasn't been able to hear audible speech, and so they can't articulate the things that they want to say, and obviously they can see, and so they use sign language or they can write, but your voice is so powerful. Your words are so powerful. Your words can bring life to people or death to people. They can build up and they can tear down. I mean, this is a simple thing we're discussing here, but just think of where you're at in your life and where you're at in your walk with Yah, and just think of people that you may have hurt by your words, whether it's your spouse, your children. I'm guilty. Friends, family members, people at your local assembly or congregation or in your house fellowship, home fellowship. For what advantage is it to us to tear people down? You know, I think we're in a time in our lives or in our walk in this day and age that we are so quick to react before thinking of what we're going to say and how we're going to say it, because tension is boiled up or things are stirred up and feelings are heated. And I'm practicing this still, you know, because I've got children and they can do things that make you want to react real quickly. But does our Father in heaven react that quickly to us? I mean, we're not perfect. He can. Well, I'm not saying that it gives us the license to just, because he's going to be slow to wrath too, but we shouldn't fuel him to anger through disobedience or tempting. But if we were all able to just take a step back and take a deep breath in and know that an hour from now, the way we reacted then to that incident, is it really going to make a difference an hour from now? Who is wise and understanding among you? This is James 3:13. Who is wise and understanding among you? Let him show by his good behavior his works in meekness of wisdom. The word wise is Strong's Hebrew number 2450, and it's hakam. How come you do that? I'm just joking. Hakam. From Strong's Hebrew number 2449, wise, that is intelligent, skillful, artful, and in Benner's lexicon, it's 2159, section N. And we have the het, the kaf, and the mem. While I'm reading over this, I'm also going to look it up in Hirsch's Biblical Dictionary, Etymological Dictionary of Biblical Hebrew. We got the het, Aleph, Bet, Gimel, Dalet, Hey, Aleph, Bet, Gimel, Dalet, Hey, Mosai, het. We got the het, the kaf, and the mim, hakam. It says action means wise. Okay, accumulate knowledge is how Rabbi Hirsch defines this word. Accumulate knowledge, learning, absorbing knowledge. He gives Proverbs 9:12, Deuteronomy 4:6, Deuteronomy 32:29 as references if you'd like to look. But to be wise, the great thing about failures is without failures, we don't truly learn how to succeed. It's through our failures that we can look behind us and see how to not make those same mistakes again so we can continue on to learn and teach others on how to grow, to not follow the same path of mistakes that we have once been on. So everybody comes from a different walk of life and has their own struggles and has their own testimony, and we can use that to our advantage to guide and direct people. And if we do that in unison as a body, well, that's a lot of failures that we can create into great successes. So the het is the picture of a tent wall anciently or hieroglyphically or pictographically, whichever one you want to use there. The kaf we see is the picture of an open hand. And the mim is the picture of water. And it can mean these individual letters. So the het being a tent wall, it can mean to separate, to divide. A tent wall in ancient times, or even in Bedouin culture, we can see that a tent wall was used to create rooms, create division in a tent. Campers out there, bushmasters out there, you might know this as well. Whenever you create a changing room, a separation room, or whatever, you can be on one side or the other of a tent wall. A kaf can mean to bend yourself to something or to receive something from someone's offering of their open hand, to tame yourself to something. We got the water that represents the letter mim represents water, which can mean chaos. It means mighty. Water flows, provides life. A flood, it can be chaotic and cause a flood. So this wise, being wise, you're obviously separating yourself from a fool, because your soft tongue and a tongue of the wise is a clear distinction between you and the fool. You're taming yourself by the wisdom and knowledge of Yah or Yahweh in his words, instructing yourself for the training up of righteousness through his Torah, which is going to bring a continual cleansing. It's like a perpetual cleansing, a washing of his word. Hallelujah. That's what a wise man can do. He takes the instructions from the Torah, applies it to his life, and allows his steps to be established through the instructions of our Creator. It's that offering of our Creator that said, here, take, eat. Take this book, take this word, eat it, because it is sweeter than honeycomb. It's man shall not live by bread alone, but by the word that proceeded from the mouth of Yahweh. So that's wisdom. That's where we get the abstract word wisdom. Wisdom comes from the word chokmah, which comes from this word hakam. Proverbs 15:3, the eyes of Yahweh are in every place, watching the evil and the good. That's self-explanatory, so nothing is in secret. He knows. He's watching both the righteous and the unrighteous. Proverbs 15:4, a healing tongue is a tree of life, but perverseness in it crushes the spirit. If you're on YouTube with me, I wanted to show you this word in the binoculars, or if you got the Englishman's Hebrew Concordance, you can look up Strong's Hebrew number 4832. That's what we're going to do here. A healing tongue is a tree of life, but perverseness in it crushes the spirit. I referenced underneath this Proverbs 12:18. Rash speaking is like piercings of a sword, but the tongue of the wise is healing. So we got the same word, the tongue of the wise, just as we read in Proverbs 15:2. The tongue of the wise makes knowledge good. Tob. It's complete. It's healing. It's a tree of life. The tongue of the wise is healing. Proverbs 12:18. It's basically Solomon is making this point to be critical here, that we understand to control our tongue, that it brings forth healing. Rash speaking is like piercings of a sword, but the tongue of the wise is healing. Who is wise and understanding among you? Let him show by his good behavior his works in meekness of wisdom. A healing tongue is a tree of life, but perverseness in it crushes the spirit. So I'm going to go back here on the YouTube, and I'm going to look up this word healing through the Englishman's, go to the binoculars. It was Strong's Hebrew number 4832. Show the usages here. 2 Chronicles 21:18. This is the King James. And after all this, Yahweh smote him in his bowels with an incurable disease. Incurable is our word healing or health. 2 Chronicles 36:16. But they mocked the messengers of Elohim and despised his words and misused his prophets until the wrath of Yahweh arose against his people until there was no remedy. Proverbs 4:22, for they are life unto those that find them, and health. Health is our word 48:32. For they are life unto those that find them, and health to all of their flesh. Let's see. Proverbs 16:24, pleasant words are as an honeycomb, sweet to the soul and health or healing to the bones. And we can see that it's used in the prophets a lot. Jeremiah 8:15, 14:19, 33:6, Malachi 4:2. But unto you that fear my name shall the Son of Righteousness arise with healing in his wings, and ye shall go forth and grow up as calves of the stall. So if we click on this word here, it's marpe in the Hebrew, marpe. Let's go to the dictionary. Let's go to the Strong's. Let me close once this loads up. Here we go. Strong's Hebrew 4832, marpe, comes from 7495, properly curative, that is literally, concretely, a medicine, abstractly a cure. So your words can be either as medicine or, in terms of our modern healthcare system today, an incurable synthetic drug that does more harm than good. So your words can be a temporary band-aid on people through manipulation that'll even hurt them worse in the long run, or they can be used as a true medicinal purpose for healing, deliverance, placidity. In Benner's lexicon, it's 1454, section E, subsection A. It's the resh pei, two-letter root line. Its action is heal. Concretely, it's medicine. And they get an abstract word from the sick. So when you combine these two pictographic words, the resh and the pei, it means man open. Wounds, Shabbat Shalom, Brad, to you. Wounds, sickness, and illnesses are cured with medicines made from plant materials, which were pulverized into a medicinal powder or power. This is what your words can be. Your words can be healing to someone who is sick, who is hurt, who needs salvation, who needs deliverance. And Brad, I'm opening up the YouTube chat because I have it on YouTube as well. If anybody wants to get on live, this is an open discussion. We're just doing an open discussion on Proverbs 15. So action means heal, concretely medicine. I just had a scripture that came to mind. John chapter 6. Okay. John chapter 6, verse 63 says, "It is the Spirit that gives life. The flesh does not profit at all. The words that I speak to you are spirit and are life." So if we take these words that our Messiah spoke, he said his words were spirit and life. If we're speaking the words of our Mashiach unto people, because look, we're in Torah, we know better. We should know better how to act with one another. It was the people that didn't know any better that he had compassion and mercy on. Oftentimes we see that it was those that knew better that he rebuked. So brethren, we should know better on how to act with people. But there are some of you who do not believe. This is verse 64. For Yeshua knew from the beginning who they were who did not believe and who would deliver him up. And he said, because of this, I have said to you that no one is able to come to me unless it has been given to him by my Father. From then on, many of his taught ones withdrew and were not walking with him anymore. Yeshua said, therefore, to the 12, do you also wish to go away? Then Shimon Kepha answered him, Master, to whom shall we go? You possess words of everlasting life. Our words can do great damage, as Yaakov or James was saying up there. I was reading in chapter 3 in the New Testament, that we must be careful to bridle our tongue. Let me check on the YouTube chat real quickly. What do we got here? Okay. So looking down at section A here on Binner's page on YouTube, we get the Mem, the Resh, the Pei, the Aleph, and it says health. The King James translators have healing, cure, sound, wholesome, yielding. I mean, health is pretty simple, in my opinion. Why is it health? Well, look, the Marpei, Mem, water. What does water do? It brings forth refreshment, healing, purpose, cleansing, spiritual health when you're immersed for the remission of your sins. The Resh, first, top, beginning. The Pei, what's spoken by the mouth. And then the Aleph, the strength, the power, the leader. There's a lot that we can take from this pictographic word Marpei, that where we get the word health or heal from, that this water from the beginning that'll lead you to the tree of life brings forth healing. You know, as we saw that the tongue of the wise is a tree of life. Because why? Your words can bring forth cleansing. Even if we have to correct and instruct people in righteousness with the word, we can do it in a tender, delicate way. We don't have to beat them up and be harsh. You know, we can do it in a soft, delicate, tender, mature manner. Speaking words from the leader who wrote the word himself, who was the word himself. So going back over here, gentle, listen to this. Gentleness characterizes the tongue when all that it says to a neighbor, whether it be instruction or correction or warning or consolation, it says in a manner without rudeness, violence, or obtrusiveness. Sorry, a typo. By which it finds the easiest and surest acceptance, because he feels the goodwill, the hearty sympathy, the humility of him who is conscious of his own imperfection. Such gentleness is a tree of life. People are attracted and drawn into that. You can't tape this thing to a baseball bat and walk around and go beat people with it and expect them to come to you and want to learn more. What? Oh, yeah, that felt great. Do it again. Man, we got to come at them with compassion and with meekness and humbleness as the true light of Yah that shines so bright within us to be able to coach them. A coach. Think of this as a coach of a t-ball team. Brad, you played baseball. I've been a coach for my son before. I didn't take up the bat and smack him over the head with it when he ran toward third base or dropped the ball or missed a ground ball. What do? Oh, you go back to practice, and it's through repetition that we're able to train them how to effectively stop a ground ball or how to field any type of ball for that matter. Because what does it do? It molds them into a great player. Whether they go pro, AAA, AA, minor league, whatever, we can mold them into something. We can bring them along from step 1 to step 1,000 over the course of time, because it's a journey that we're on this path together, walking hand in hand. I posted on Facebook a couple of days ago about there is an old African saying, those who want to go fast, go alone. Those who want to go far, go together. Yeah, we're going to slip up and we're going to fall, but that's why we have each other there hand in hand to pick one another up. Such gentleness is a tree of life, whose fruits preserve life, heal the sick, and raise up the humbled and bowed down. As we meditate on the Torah day and night, we are further equipped to guard the word of truth and the knowledge of the set-apart one. People who disregard the need to guard the knowledge by casting aside the Torah of Yahweh can never be prosperous in this walk of set-apartness, and they will perish due to the lack of knowledge being carefully guarded in their mouths, for the Torah is to be in our hearts and our mouths to do it. Hosea 4:6, for my people perish for lack of knowledge. Have we lost our passion? Does not our hearts burn within us? Proverbs 15:5. A fool despises his father's discipline, but he who heeds reproof is clever. Why? It's a pruning, like a pruning hook. It'll continue to shape you to produce more fruit. The household of the righteous is a great treasure, but in the income of the wrong is trouble. Proper stewardship of how we handle the word rightly and how we're to disseminate the word in a manner that other people can receive it. Our words are seeds. They will plant life or destruction. The lips of the wise scatter about knowledge. We're planting and sowing everywhere. But the heart of the fools is not so. The slaughtering of the wrong ones is an abomination to Yahweh, but the prayer of the straight is his delight. We're in Proverbs 15, verse 9. The way of the wrong one is an abomination to Yahweh, but he loves him who pursues righteousness. Let's go back to 2 Timothy. I think it's 2 Timothy. Pursues righteousness. It's also in Peter. I'll have to find it there too. Second Timothy 3:16. All scripture is breathed out by Elohim and profitable for teaching, for reproof, for setting straight, for training up in righteousness, for instruction in righteous living. So how is it that we can utilize our behavior to be an example to other people? I've been a sinner of sinners. I've turned my life around 180 degrees. People wouldn't know my past or previous life. Jacob James, why is that music in the background? Because it's soothing. Here, I'll turn it down just for you, brother. There we go. I want to look that up for Pursuing Righteousness by Kifa, because I think it's in one of his letters. Pursue Righteousness. Hey James, if you want to get on the hangout, let me know. I'll send you the link, because this is just an open discussion, but no one's been brave enough to get on here with me. I'm calling you guys out. Let me see if there's anyone in the chat. No, it's just me all alone. You love it, turn it up. James, would you like to get on and have the discussion with me? Pursue righteousness. 2 Timothy. Oh, it's still in Timothy. Okay. 2 Timothy 2:22. All right. Okay, 2 Timothy 2:22 says, and flee from the lusts of the youth. You can send us the link. Okay, let me send you the link. I'll put the link in the chat room on YouTube because I saw Justin was in there earlier, and then he can just click on that and it'll allow him to come on. Or if you have an email, let me know and I'll send you the email that way too, whichever you prefer. Hey, James, Jacob, I was the guy with the Torah tied to a bat too. You know, we're all in this walk together. We've all been guilty of something sometime or another, so it doesn't matter. I'm going to post this link in the chat section. So if you want to get on, just click on that link there in the chat section on the YouTube channel, and then it'll put you on the panel. We were all Torah terrorists at some point. Yes, we were, or Torah Nazis. Torah terrorists and Torah Nazis. Watch out, because here we come. All right, let me go back up to see where my screen is. Wrong one. So flee from the lusts of the youth, but pursue righteousness. So righteousness is something that we're to pursue. Yes, Lynn, we can see your comments. In the ancient Hebrew or pictographically, righteousness is zadik or zadikah, which is the letter the zad, which is actually a picture of a trail that will lead to a destination that will get you somewhere. It can also look like a man laying down on his side as resting, because when we're on this trail and we endure, we're going to get to the millennial reign, which is a perpetual Shabbat of 1,000 years of rest. So there is something that we're aiming to get to. See, many of us just see obstacles in the way, but many of us too see the goal that's standing there. I see the goal. Let us not be hindered by the obstacles that we might have to go under, go above, go around to get to our goal. Because Satan's going to put blocks all in front of us. We might have the testing of our faith, the proving of our faith or our belief as well, to see how we will respond to certain situations, to see if we can be entrusted with more responsibility from Yahweh. That too can be a test. So that's why he says, rejoice at all times when trials and tribulations come your way. Because other people, whether you know it or not, they're looking at it. They're watching, and they're going to see how you're going to respond to each situation. Erica Sabo, Shabbat Shalom to you. Flee from the lusts of the youth, but pursue righteousness, belief, love, peace with those calling on the Master out of a clean heart. Anybody click that link? Whitney or Justin, what's your email? And I can email you that link if y'all haven't got it. But I did see Justin in the YouTube chat. So all he has to do is click that link in the chat section. He'll be on. All right, I'm going to go back to the notes over here. The way of the wrong is an abomination to Yahweh. I had to download Google Chrome. Oh, okay. Google Chrome. The way of the wrong is an abomination to Yahweh, but he loves him who pursues righteousness. Discipline is grievous to him who forsakes the way. He who hates reproof dies. Is it in the book of Hebrews that talks about where Yahweh chooses to don't hate discipline for. I'm butchering the scripture verse. I can't even think of it. Talking about that as a father disciplines his own son, so does Yahweh those chastises those he loves. Isn't that reiterated somewhere in the book of Hebrews? A glad heart makes good a face. A glad heart makes good a face, but by sorrow of heart the spirit is stricken. The heart of the understanding one seeks knowledge, but the mouth of fools feeds on folly. All the days of the afflicted are evil, but gladness of heart is a continual feast. Better is a little with the fear of Yahweh than great treasure with trouble. Better is a meal of vegetables where love is than a fatted calf with hatred. There's a lot of compare and contrast through these verses here about having joy, uprightness in heart, glee, and happiness, and sharing that same pursuit of happiness in love with others that share that same type of spirit, that same type of desire. But those who are contentious and foolish, we need to abstain from those if they're not wanting to heed our correction or wanting to change. A scoffer does not love his reprover, nor does he go to the wise. Okay. Jacob James. Let me add your email address. I'll email you the link, brother. Is it James? You know what? I'm going to have to do this. I'm not that efficient with this. So let me go here. Close. Stop screen sharing. Box. Close email. Sent you the link there, pal. I think I said pal because I just saw PayPal. So pal. Oh my goodness. So Proverbs 15 is quite a good one. Let me see. Oh, I think I'm trying to get the link to come across. How are you guys coming in on the Facebook live feed there? Everything coming in? Okay. I'm trying to pull up my notes again. I still don't see anybody. Everything's good. Thanks, Brad. As we meditate on the Torah day and night, we are further equipped to guard the word truth and the knowledge. Because with the truth of the knowledge, we're able to bring that Besorah, which is the good news, to people. Because you got to remember, there are people who truly want that desire to have this. We just got to be a good vessel or convoy to deliver that message to people so that way they can get it. So we look at verse 1, we look at verse 2. We're still in Proverbs 15. I thought there was another word that I had down here. Okay, look at verse 21. Verse 20, a wise son makes a glad father, but a foolish man despises his mother. Verse 21, folly is joy to one lacking heart, but a man of understanding walks straight. Without counsel, plans go wrong, but by great counselors they are established. A man has joy by the answer of his mouth, and how good is a word spoken in its season. The path of life is upward for the wise. Turn away from the grave below. Path of life is upward. I think that's where Shaul had got this concept. For we seek the prize of the upward calling. I don't remember where he quoted that, but I do know he said it. I don't really have to touch on the word tob. We can look at the word for fool. It's Strong's Hebrew number 3684. It means fool, stupid fellow, a dullard. To become stupid, to be foolish. So if you think about fools, fools are not pouring out proper praise, but are gushing out foolishness to the hearers who are being continually immersed in folly, and they're unable to rightly divide the truth through proper wisdom of Yahweh or Elohim. What we do to take note of in the world today is how there are so many books, DVDs, and YouTube channels and things like this, but it's there's a lot of media, forms of media that are utilized to pour out much folly, much foolishness, and those who teach and preach a doctrine of lawlessness, those will be the ones that are shunned away, because most refuse to hear the words of Elohim. The fools are simply throwing out empty words, casting behind them the words of the Most High. Is there anybody on the hangout, or is it just me?
There's a couple of us on.
Aha, I thought I saw you on there. Shabbat shalom, brother.
Shabbat shalom.
Okay, I see Justin on there now. Shabbat shalom to you, brother. You guys should have spoke up. I didn't realize y'all are on here. I had my other screen up. You know me, I'll talk forever. If y'all want to say something, you're more than welcome to. Woe to those who call evil good and good evil, who put darkness for light and light for darkness, who put bitter for sweet and sweet for bitter. But here's the man of the hour.
I'm trying to find the right. I'm in the wrong link. Hold on.
You're in the right one, bro. You're here. Then he's gone. So to be wise means to be one who is skilled or learned. That light is bright over there. And this takes time, as we all know. It takes determination and discipline. Right, Jesse? How many new recruits do you get coming in that wish to be wise and want to be colonel on day one, and they get quickly humbled because they thought they knew better and they didn't know?
Oh, that's true.
So many in the role of leadership want to be leaders, but a leader is made. There are very few who become natural-born leaders, but a leader is someone who is molded into a leader, someone who can learn, lead, and guide, and we see that in our military. We see that in many business organizations, and we see that in the assemblies too. One who is skilled and learned. That's a good word, Lynn. Whitney working on the Google Hangouts, new technology to this guy. Hey, that's all right. We can hang out here all day. I love any of you other guys on the Facebook Live have a word, let me know. I'll read it, or if you have something you want to say, let me know. To be wise. To be wise is evident of one who is increasing in their learning, as he gives his ear, that is his full attention, to hearing instruction and living as a taught one of the Master Yeshua. To be wise in one's own eyes is foolishness, as we see in the Torah and in the book of Judges. I believe it's written twice in the book of Judges. Do not do as what everybody is doing here today, being wise in his own eyes. When a person thinks that they have wisdom in themselves, they reveal that they lack the true fear of Yahweh and are unable to turn away from evil, as they lack the discernment and wisdom that is from above. And we can get this from the scripture. We just got to dig and look for it like a buried treasure. Let me see if there's any other words. Let's look at 1 Peter 1:9. While I'm waiting on the people to get on the live hangout here. 1 Peter. All right. Blessed be the Elohim and Father of our Master Yeshua, Messiah, who according to his great compassion has caused us to be born again to a living expectation through the resurrection of Yeshua Messiah from dead, to an inheritance incorruptible and undefiled and unfading, having been kept in the heavens for you, who are protected by the power of Elohim through belief, for a deliverance ready to be revealed in the last time, in which you exult, even though for a little while, if need be, you have been grieved by manifold trials. Here it is, in order that the proving of your belief and my belief, for a deliverance ready to be revealed in the last time. I backed up on accident there because my dyslexia kicked in. The proving of your belief, much more precious than gold that perishes and proven by fire, might be found to result in praise and respect and esteem at the revelation of Yeshua Messiah, whom having not seen, you love, in whom you exult with unspeakable and esteemed joy, yet not seeing, but believing, obtaining the goal of your belief, a deliverance of lives. Brother Yaakov, welcome, and welcome. Shabbat Shalom, my brother.
Shabbat Shalom, brother. Conviction got me here.
Conviction gets us all here, my bro.
And one thing we don't do much in this community is read the Proverbs, and I'm so glad that you're touching on this. It's, as you were reading with the music in the background, I was like, oh my goodness, this is all me. He is speaking to me as he usually does. So it's well received. I was just going through this morning with the soft answer that turns away wrath, but grievous word stirs up anger. And I had to apply that this morning. So, but this is good. So I'm on board with you. I think you should keep this going on more often. Just nobody talks about the book of Proverbs that much at all. So thank you for doing this.
You're welcome, Jacob, and thanks for being here, man. I really enjoy your company. Jesse, I enjoy your company, and the people on Facebook, I enjoy all y'all's company. It's great to be able to come together in fellowship and discuss the word of Yah and share our opinions and sharpen one another through the sword. This thing right here is a double-edged sword that will pierce in between joint and marrow, and it will excise the lustful, wicked cancers within the heart of man, and it will be able to give you discernment of where you need to make changes. This book, it's more than just a piece of history. This is your very life. Christy Gardner, Shabbat Shalom. That is happy Sabbath to you. You know, oftentimes the Proverbs, they can be overlooked. And oftentimes the book of James or Yaakov in the New Testament is rendered the Proverbs of the New Testament. And if we just can understand about how our tongue guides this thing that's called a vessel. If I can use nautical terms here, it's very powerful to be able to have a soft answer, to be delicate in the way we approach our brothers and sisters, because we all come from different walks and we all have different backgrounds, and we all got to this place that we're at today through someone we know. Or maybe we just were so blessed that we discovered it on our own behalf. And that's a blessing in of itself, because we can take that same defining moment that was used in our life and be able to pour that into someone else to lead them on a path that will bring deliverance to their life. This walk ain't easy. It can create a lot of enemies. It can destroy a lot of friendships, but it creates a bond between those who stick around and those who fight tooth and nail to the end. It creates a true bond. Whitney on Facebook says, yes, it is a much needed topic and message I needed today too. We've too frequently forgotten the true power of the tongue. Cinematics and how everything has frequency, or sematics and how everything has frequency, and how that frequency affects us in so many ways, whether good or bad. Seeing it firsthand through the power of sound on the elements really helped that click for me. Thank you for your time and courage to step out and shine his light through you. Thank you, Whitney. And see, this is what it's about right here, the fellowship and the unison that we can come together. And it's little statements like that from one person that can make a big difference in someone else's life, whether yours, whether mine, or whether someone else who's watching or will watch later. It's us being able to come together as this family in the Messiah to show people how to love on one another, how to have compassion and mercy, and how we can guide somebody. Because there's somebody out there that's hurting. There's somebody out there that can use an encouraging word, an uplifting word, because the frequency that she mentioned that we're surrounded by is kind of deafening. And if you look at the science of frequency and how it can disrupt the signals within our own body, because our bodies are made with frequency. Everything has a frequency to it. That's why you can change the frequency of your voice to shatter a glass in a room, or break a window, or use vibration and sound to rattle the walls of Jericho down to the ground. We can defeat our enemy through frequency. But yet we're so crowded by frequency through these technological devices, and the enemy knows how to get to us because he's using the words of social media and from all these outlets around us to tear us down. And we get caught up in this electrostatic cloud that we can't hear ourselves or think. And so when we sometimes take a step back and be still and get into that quiet place, whether it's in the wilderness, whether it's at Enchanted Lake, whether it's in Llano, whether it's in Cisco, whether it's in LA, whether it's in Hawaii, whether it's in Wisconsin, Michigan, Missouri, Utah, or wherever, we can find that remote place to hear that still, small, quiet voice of Yahweh that speaks to our heart, that will teach this rudder how to steer this vessel.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up, Brother Chris, because I was just reading in James chapter 3, and it, for whatever reason, Yahweh just kept bringing about the rudder and the ship, and I don't know. I'm thinking that the heart is like that ship, if you will, and the tongue. Now, for me, I've been dealing with a lot of heart issues because I don't know. I've got a lot of issues that I'm dealing with, especially being over in Hawaii and being by myself and kind of on this journey by myself, if you will. And I've been struggling a lot lately, a lot. And last night, I'm thinking to myself, well, I don't understand why I'm struggling. And I know why I'm struggling is because I'm not getting in the word. I'm not using the word like I should. But having said all that, the heart, it says in the Tanakh that it's, it's deceitfully wicked and all that. And but I think that while we're on this journey and Yahweh is continually dealing with our heart, I think uh, we can use this tongue, this rudder, to steer that, which, however way we want to go, because we are the pilot of this ship, of this heart, and we have the tools right here to do that. But this tongue, I think we can, with practice and with patience and with learning how to pilot this heart that we have, that we can use that tongue for good or for evil. So if you could, when we get a little bit of time, I'd like us to maybe dive in a little deeper in that third chapter. See what you think.
Yeah, we can dive in the third chapter. Yes, sir. Chips? Yeah, I love my chips. These are good. We can dive in that third chapter right now, or whenever you want, man. You let me know. We can do it at this moment. We can do it later today, tomorrow. I'm ready when you are, my brother. I got my Facebook camera right here too, and I bet everybody just saw me open my mouth real big and wide and took a bite of that chip.
No, but
I forgot.
I'll try to. I was getting a little bit flustered because I usually don't do this stuff. But I needed.
That's all right, man.
I needed transparency. I needed to put myself out there, because this journey, we know it's not easy. And for any of you on Facebook, or if you can hear me on or YouTube and on Facebook, I've been on and off this journey for the last going on almost 4 years now, and I've been struggling with this journey. And I just recently came back I guess the beginning of last Passover last year. So I've been doing this for about a year now, but ever since the coat, coming back, I've been struggling. I've got my devices, my things that I'm dealing with, and it's really hard to deal with that by yourself. Now, I know I've got Brother Chris a phone call away, things like that, but when you're by yourself on an island, and you're the only one in your family that is trying to practice Torah, to be obedient, I think the enemy likes to use whatever avenues of the past, whatever he can do to try to pull you down. But praise Yahweh that I haven't fully given up, but I've lost some battles. Let's just put it to you that way. But we're not perfect. I'm constantly reminded as a father and getting on my children on a daily basis, and not like, why can't you get it? I'm telling you to do this, do that. You don't do it. But I mean, we are children of Yahweh, are we not? And I feel the Father's probably the same way. Like, hello, why aren't you getting this? You have the instruction manual right in front of you. All you have to do is just follow it. But He knows we're not perfect. That's why we need Yeshua. But yeah, the journey's not easy. But praise Yahweh that we have His Shabbat to come together, to get that recharge, to share in one another's burdens, and and I also want to praise Yahweh that He's given me Brother Chris and all you guys there for me, and that I get to come in 2 weeks down to Texas and spend some good quality time with the Wilson family, and so that they can be there for me because I need it, because I'm struggling over here by myself. It's a tough journey, but I don't want to give this up, because he's done too much for me, for you, for all of us, for me to just turn my back on him. I don't want to do that anymore. But I just pray that he's patient with me, because I need him to give me time and help me along this walk, because I think that if I can make it through this storm, that that there's going to be somebody out there that's where I'm at right now, and they just need somebody there to give them that encouragement and let them know that, you know, they can get through it if they're just patient and trust in Yahweh. Because I have a lot of trust issues. I think that's part of the problem, along with, like I said, my vices that I'm dealing with on a daily basis. So yeah, just lift me up, brothers and sisters, because I need it. I really do. But I'm glad that I'm here. I could be anywhere else, but I'm here. So praise Yahweh for that. Thanks, guys. So yeah, just lift me up, brothers and sisters, because I need it. I really do. But
Can I add some stuff to that when you get a second?
I could be anywhere else, but I'm here. So praise Yahweh for that. Thanks, guys.
Go ahead, Jacob. Justin, I see you came on camera. I muted your microphone, so we can hear Jacob clearly. You can unmute yourself in a moment if you want to chime in.
I got to get going shortly here. Can you hear me? I want to read something real quick that has been speaking to me. This is very here. Let me just find it. Okay. In the book of Matthew, it says, oh goodness, I'm trying to find it. Where? Okay, here it is. Okay. Verse 23 says, therefore the kingdom of heaven is likened unto a certain king, which would take account of his servants. And when he had begun to reckon, one was brought to him that owed him 10,000 talents. But for as much as he had not to pay, his master commanded him to be sold, and his wife and his children and all that he had, and payment to be made. And the servant therefore fell down and worshipped him, saying, Master, have patience with me. I will pay thee all. Then the master of that servant was moved with compassion and loosened him and forgave him the debt. But the same servant went out and found one of his servants, which owed him 100 pence. And he laid hands on him and took him by the throat, saying, Pay me what you owe. And his fellow servant fell down at his feet and besought him, saying, Have patience with me, I will pay you all. But he would not, but went and cast him into prison till he should pay the debt. So when his fellow servants saw what was done, they were very sorry. And they came and told unto their master all that was done. Then his master called him and said, O you wicked servant, I forgave you all that debt, because you desired me. Shouldest not have thou have had compassion on thy fellow servant, even as I had pity on thee? And his master was wroth and delivered him to the tormentors, that he should pay all that was due to him. So likewise shall my heavenly Father do also unto you, if you from your hearts forgive not everyone that his brother, not everyone that his brother trespasses. I think what we're saying, the brother, Jesse was just being very transparent and open, and all this stuff that we're talking about. It's like I don't know if anybody could say this about themselves. Maybe we can all say it about ourselves, but I don't know somebody. I have yet to meet a sinner like myself who has just been, I mean, I have broken Abba's heart so many times, and he just rescue and rescue and rescue me and have pity on me and have pity on me. But it seems like the more we come into this truth and into this Torah, which is a beautiful thing, right? Which is a wonderful thing that our eyes are being opened and everything, and we're hurt because of all the lies that we came out of and all these things. But it's like the story of that brother that, everybody think the story is about the prodigal son. I think it's more about the brother who just cannot handle the fact that this son who has plundered everything the father owned and, I mean, spent all his inheritance, wants to come back home. And that brother had such a grudge and such. So when you were talking about putting the Torah, the scriptures, on a baseball bat and just beating people, I don't think some of us actually intentionally, it's like we just want to like just beat down and there's times that we have to stand for righteousness and yes, be against truth, but I think we're lacking mercy. And that's my problem. And patience. Mercy and patience. So our mouth just drives at speeds and we have that baseball bat because I think my problem is for sometimes I just seems to forget what I've been forgiven. I mean, my goodness, I'm not supposed to be here. And I know this may sound hard to say. I know some Christians that are living more spiritual and more victorious and more loving and more kind. And please, I would never go against the Torah community. I would never speak negative about the Torah community because I believe there are righteous and holy and divine people. But I just want to say that in my case, I tend to forget sometimes how much I was forgiven, how I besought my master and he pardoned me. Think about it. 3,000, how many talents was it? How much is that today? That's like $3 million compared to like, what is it? Few dollars, like $100. I mean, that's what it's almost like. And I just find that to be, he said shouldn't have had compassion and be patient. Not now, please, I'm trying to put a difference between like people that are bent on destroying the community and people that are bent on speaking against what we preach and the truth and pastors that are standing behind pulpit. But I believe there's some people with a broken heart that are in ignorance like we were, that when they come, and those are the ones that we are just pounding on. And so I just want to express that I come clean and I come face to face and I humbly repent. And I think it's out of my stupidity, out of my zeal it's like foolish zeal. But now the more I understand and I look back at what he's done for me, the more that humbles me. And then that's where wisdom comes from on how to actually speak to other people. That's when we get led by the Spirit. And that also comes from being led by the Spirit. Some of us are not being led by the Spirit. We're being led by our knowledge and our zeal. And when we're led by the Spirit, we know there's a time to speak. And then we take on the fruits of the Spirit, which is love, joy. I can't remember them all because we're too busy focusing on trying to get knowledge out rather than trying to get love out. I just want to get that off my chest, and I feel great getting it off my chest. And I'll leave it at that. Shalom.
Hey, brother James. Hi. I'm the king of sinners, just like you, brother. Because yeah, I'm always constantly reminded of Shaul, man. He's like, I know what to do. Well, I'm paraphrasing. I know what to do, but I find myself not doing it. How frustrating is that? But it's a good thing we don't have to do this on our own. You know, Yeshua sent out his disciples 2 by 2, right? So we were never meant to do this on our own. I mean, the journey might be, you know, you're going to be responsible. Well, we're going to be judged corporately and then individually, but I mean, I don't think we were ever meant to do this on our own. Sometimes I like to be that introvert. Is that introvert? Yeah, I think so. When things get rough and I think I got to do it on my own, man, I'm so horrible at that. I can't do it on my own. When am I going to get it? But I think that's part of the reason why I was sent here on this island, even though I wish I would have done it. Wish I would have listened to some people about not going to Hawaii, but you know, I've got to do things on my own so I can learn. I always got to go to the school of hard knocks and learn the hard way. I'm just one of them people. I'm stubborn. I got to learn the hard way. But no, brother, trust me, I'm with you. One of these days we'll get it. And praise Yahweh when that happens.
Praise Yah. I gotta get going. Shabbat shalom, brother Jesse. Yah willing, I'll get to see you. You know, we're all going to be meeting in Florida, and I look forward to that. I think it's going to be an amazing time for the brothers to come together. And I thank you, brother Chris. You've been. I just love your spirit, you know, and how you've just been so. You know, you're always reaching out and just very concerned about my health, which I do have a praise report real quick for you. All the results came back negative. They're still testing a couple more things, and I was sick for the past couple days, and so thank you for you know just always being very hard on me about my health, and I think you have a calling there, brother. You have a strong calling there, and you can tell looking at your face, you look like a 13-year-old. I always say that you and your wife look like brothers and sisters, you know. So you guys look so young, and so the example shows the fruits of how you guys take care of yourself shows. And I want to thank you for that. And you have a calling there, brother. So don't give up on that. There's a lot of people in the Torah that need healing, that need to learn about this nutrition, that needs to learn biblically how to heal ourselves and how to eat right and things to avoid. So thank you for that. And I'll be sharing the rest of the results with you next week. Shabbat shalom, everybody. God bless you. Thank you. And thank you for the book of Proverbs. Keep it up.
Thanks, Brother James. Jacob, you have a wonderful day, and I'll catch up with you later, man. Thank you. Justin?
I'm still new to this. I don't know if it's working or not.
You're doing good. We hear you.
Yeah.
And we see you.
Snacking on some chips, listening.
Shabbat shalom, brother.
You too. This is cool.
I'm glad y'all could be a part. That's really awesome. Thanks for joining.
Yeah. Thanks for the invite.
You're welcome, man.
Oh, not much to say. I'm just more in the listening mode right now.
That's fine. That's all good. The guy that's on the chat with us, Jesse Goblet, the one that's out there in Hawaii, I was telling him about you, Justin, and your wife and stuff, because he's a big outdoors guy himself. He's kind of like a simple bushmaster at heart, you know. And I was telling him, I was like, man, when you come to Texas, we'll have to go down to Cisco so you can meet these people. They're awesome people.
That'd be cool.
It'd be awesome. Hopefully we can go down to Enchanted Lake or wherever soon. I was really excited to do that.
Yep, Enchanted Rock.
Enchanted Rock.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that'd be
Yeah,
great.
that'll be good.
I'd really like to go because it'd be a lot of fun to have a Sabbath down there. And
That's what we were talking about. You know, a little bit out of the norm of what we're used to, but still a little more.
It'll be really cool.
Yeah, that'd be great. I
Mm-hmm.
would really like to go because it'd be a lot of fun to have a Sabbath down there. And
That's what we were talking about.
I'm going to read a little bit more if that's all right.
Mm-hmm.
If anybody has anything to say, just don't be afraid to interrupt me. You're more than welcome to. I'll give you permission to interject and say anything you feel.
Sounds good.
I'm going to screen share once again so I can see the scriptures on the window,
Good
just
deal.
in case nobody has an ability to have a Bible or something. Let me see back here. Do you know how to mute your mic? There's a little button that has a microphone shape, and you can just click it, and it'll mute your mic. And then if you want to talk or interject on anything, just unmute it and feel free to speak at any time. So Brad over here in the Facebook Live group had said a pretty good comment. I have to fix my camera because I wanted to point that for you guys to see. He says, when we first see the truth through the Torah, it's exciting. Then nobody else sees it. I want to show me more. There we go. Then nobody else sees it. It's difficult. We have to learn to stand alone with the Father and His truth. This prepares us for the journey ahead. Many times you will stand alone as far as family and friends. It's very true. Lynn says Yahweh chooses the weak of the world to confound the mighty. And I think that's where we're at now. All right, so continuing on back into Proverbs here. So we're down at verse 24, 25. 25, Yahweh tears down the house of the proud, and He sets up the boundary of the widow. Evil thoughts are an abomination to Yahweh, but pleasant words are clean. He who is greedy for gain troubles his own house, but he who hates bribes lives. Verse 28, the heart of the righteous ponders how to answer. We're going to look at this word answer. But the mouth of the wrong pours out evil. Answer is Strong's Hebrew number 6030. And if you don't know about the pictographic Hebrew, there is circulating archaeological evidence of an additional letter called the Ga of twisted rope. Now, in Benner's lexicon, he has his particular reasoning of perhaps why this letter would have been used instead of the normal ayin that we see there in the modern Hebrew. Let me make this a little bigger so y'all can see. Gary Godfrey says, Shabbat Shalom, everyone. Thank you, Chris. Great topic. I've been working on this for the past few months. I don't want to be a Torah terrorist anymore. It doesn't work. For me, it was mostly with friends and loved ones because I wanted them to see the truth so much. But with others, I was more patient and loving, trying to be that way with everyone now. Yeah, Gary, I think sometimes as to what Brother Jacob was saying too, is that our zealousness pushes aside our love for our fellow neighbor. We become so zealous in our defense for Yahweh that we cling so tight to those first 4 commands that pertain to Him that we squeeze out the remaining 6 for our fellow neighbor. And remember, Yeshua had said that when the scribe asked him, what is the greatest commandment? Yeshua had said, Shema Yahweh Eloheinu Yahweh Akkad. He quoted the Shema prayer, Deuteronomy 6:1. Then he said, the others are just like it. To love Yahweh your Elohim with all your soul, mind, or with all your heart, mind, soul, and strength, and to love your neighbor as yourself. And oftentimes I think we forget about our neighbor because we lovingly fear our Creator. And, I think that we have to find a healthy balance between the two. And you're not the only one. Myself have been very guilty. I've always shared the statement that I heard from a wise man that once told me that you can't get to the ears of people if you lop their heads right off. How can they hear you if you give them so much overwhelming truth that they shut down and they can't hear you no more? You do more harm than good. And we've all been there. And I think we're coming into a time right now that we're just trying to find that balance, or some are being awakened to that balance, or where maybe others have always had that balance from the get-go. But for a lot of us, I see that balance is being found. And it's a great thing to be found, because how can we be the light if the light is so loud and so bright that it blinds people when they see it? I mean, it can blind people. That can be good. But you want to restore the sight. That's a restorative process that brings people together in unison. That, hey man, you're human. You're not perfect. We can strive to be perfect, and we can be perfected using His Word. And it's a journey. It's not about where we start. It's about how we end and how we get there. If it was all about how we began, there'd be a lot of room for error, because it doesn't cause room for growth. And I think that when we allow that room for growth through experience, or the way one perceives his world, can be good for success for a lot of people. You can't get to the ears of people if you love off their head with the truth. Not love, lop, like lop it off, L-O-P. Lop it off. So the heart of the righteous ponders how to answer, but the mouth of the wrong pours out evil. And primitive root, what I was saying about that twisting letter, the ga or the ayin, you'd have to read. And well, here, I can read it for you guys if y'all don't know about it or have this book. He talks about the gayin, or ga for the ayin. It is on page 472. Is that right? Why is it way back there? Just so that way you can hear his okay, the ayin and the ga. While the modern Hebrew alphabet consists of 22 letters, the evidence suggests that there were additional letters in the original Semitic and Hebrew alphabet. One of the ancient Semitic languages of Canaan was Ugarit. This ancient language is almost identical to the Hebrew language of the Bible, but instead of consisting of 22 letters, it has 28 letters. One of the major differences between Ugarit and Hebrew is the additional letter Ga. Evidence, such as will be presented here, suggests that the letter Ga exists within the Hebrew text of the Bible. The strongest evidence of the missing Ga can be found in two different meanings of the one Hebrew word. The Hebrew word Ra, Resh Ayin, can mean friend or bad. The examples in the table below list several of these double meaning words that contain the letter ayin. The first column is the word as it appears in the modern Hebrew Bible. The second column is the word spelled with the ancient Hebrew letter ayin and its meaning. The third column is the word spelled with the ancient Hebrew letter ga and its meaning. And we've got two different words: infant, prophet, heed, weary. And I don't really have the best way to showcase this in here, but you can see the table that he's talking about. You can see column right here where there's the word infant, prophet, heed, weary, skin, colt, friend, and then you can see how it's spelt with that twisted letter that looks like a double helix DNA strand. Those are pictographic letters. And you got wicked. This is so hard to read backwards on this camera. Wicked, goat, answer, darkness, blind. And he goes into here and provides some evidence of that letter and why it's used. But I can give definitions of both ways on this letter, and it'd be my opinion. This isn't like anything authoritative coming from me. This is just my opinion. A primitive root properly to eye or generally to heed, that is, pay attention, by implication to respond. And this is the word ana. We took this word from Proverbs 15:28 for the English word answer. The heart of the righteous ponders how to answer. That word answer or respond is a Strong's Hebrew number 6030, and it's the Hebrew word ana. Primitive root properly to eye or generally to heed, that is, pay attention, by implication to respond. Shabbat Shalom, Diane. Good to see you on there. By extension, to begin to speak, specifically to sing, shout, testify, and announce. So in Benner's lexicon, it's on page 15, or I'm sorry, it's number 1520 HV, and he's got the ga and the noon. So the ga can signify something that is, I haven't done this letter in a long time. Let me see if I have it on here. I don't have it on that sheet, but it can mean evil. It can mean a wicked. It can mean to twist. And so we see that it's a twisting of the seed, because if you look at the noon pictographically, that noon is exactly what it is, a picture of a seed or a sperm or a semen, and that's why we get the identification of a seed, something that bears forth continuance. And that's what a seed does. So the twisting of the seed, and here we have the action is to answer. And section H, we got its action again means to answer, and it says an answer or reply to a previous question or request. So on this particular pictographic letter of the Ga, the twisted letter, I would have to do a little bit more in-depth research. But if we look at it with the ayin, in response to how it's put in context with the heart of the righteous ponders how to answer. So an answer or reply to a previous question or request, and it's the heart of the righteous ponders on how to answer. So you can actually take it with both of these pictographic meanings, with the pictographic of the eye, which is what the ayin is pictographically, or with that double helix, the twisted rope. Because if you ponder how to answer, you can answer by something of twisting the words, manipulating the words to bring forth a false witness, a false report, something that is untrue, deceptive, or you can bring forth a good report, right? Something that is perceived of truth, that is fact. And we can get that from both of these pictographic letters here. So looking at the answer, we have the ayin is the picture of an eye, and it means to see through one's world as to they understand it, to gain understanding and experience. And it can mean to watch. It also shades, you close your eyelid to shade your eye. So depending on the context is going to determine how it to be used. So we can see that it's to know the continuance, or remember too that it can be used to in a negative or positive context. So we can see it as something on the righteous of heart ponders how to answer. So they're pondering on how they should respond to a manner that is being requested of. And in this case, we can look at it through something that will bring a continuance to life and revelation based upon the three letters here on the screen. Let me highlight them for the people that are on YouTube that can see this right here. Because we got the ayin, the noon, and the hay. So if we see and we know the seed to continue, that brings us revelation and life, right? That would be the interpretation of those three pictographic letters. So how we respond to people, this is why it says we're differentiating or contrasting here two different types of people. We got the mouth of the wrong pours out evil. So they're responding in a manner that's evil. However, the righteous of the heart is responding in a way that's going to allow those to continue to a life of revelation, or it'll give them the ability or opportunity to react to a response that can bring them life and revelation. Because that's what the little man with his arms raised signifies here. It's a picture of a hay pictographically. Or, I mean, it's a hay, but pictographically, it's a little man with his arms raised, beholding a great sight. And that letter can mean breathe, breath, revelation, reveal. And it can also mean whenever that word is placed at the end of a word, it can mean something prophetic in the future. It can also mean to receive in the essence of feminine. It makes a word feminine, going on Hebrew grammatical rules. It can make a word feminine versus masculine. So think of it, you're receiving a response from somebody. You're receiving a response that will either allow you to continue, or the person can twist the words and manipulate them to make you receive a false report. You know, we read about the prophets, how Yahweh is speaking to those in Jeremiah, and Ezekiel, and Hosea, and Zechariah about, well, I think it's mainly like Ezekiel and Jeremiah, but he's talking about how, woe to you, shepherds of the flock, who have scattered my sheep, right? And woe to you, false pen of the scribes. Woe to you, these people who scatter my flock. So we can think about these false prophets or false shepherds who bring forth false words, false witnesses, false testimonies, false reports to deceive the minds of the people. This is why we need to pray for discernment, especially in a time such as this. Especially at a time such as this, in a world that we live in today. Because there's deception and deceit all around us. Yahweh is far from the wrong ones, but he hears the prayer of the righteous. They got a footnote here for Proverbs 28:9, and I believe that says, he who turns away his ear from hearing the Torah, even his prayer is an abomination. Now, I'm not saying that this scripture verse means, oh, I'm screen sharing. Oh, I see what you're saying. They don't see the screen. I wonder how long it's been like that. Maybe it's your phone?
Yeah, I don't know. Hey, Chris, yeah, I was going to say I haven't seen anything on the screen for a while, and that's both on Facebook. Well, yeah, it's just on YouTube, I think.
Well, that's a bummer.
Yeah, I didn't know if it was my internet connection, because sometimes it does that where it doesn't show your face. So
yeah, I had a poor connection
something
a while ago that dropped too
yeah.
on my phone because the phone said poor connection and it dropped the signal.
Oh,
I don't know.
Yeah, maybe that's what it was.
Yeah, I don't know,
That's
man. There's some funny stuff that's been going on out there in the world today with the signals and.
Oh, really?
I don't know. I'm just sounded good. No, because my buddy Amon was telling me, when he was putting out on Facebook about vaccinations and health concerns using holistic naturopathic remedies and things of that nature, that his cable would go out at his house. He lives in up in Canada, but he was talking about how his cable would go out. He would call the cable guys to come out. Like his internet would go down, his cable would go out, and the cable guys couldn't explain why that would happen. And so I don't know. And then I think I heard Diane was talking about when she would have live streams going, connectivity was very poor. So I don't know why. And I live in Fort Worth, which is a heavily populated area. So you would think the signal would be very strong here in Dallas, Fort Worth, Texas area. So I don't know, man. We can blame it on the enemy. We can blame it on all kinds of things, but Facebook can't see your screen. How are y'all doing there on Facebook? Can y'all see me? Can y'all hear me? Are y'all at least getting audio? An ear that hears the reproof of life does dwell among the wise. Whiteboarded. Whiteboarded. What does that mean? Whiteboarded. Brad says good. Lim says you, yes. Diane says whiteboarded. Oh, whiteboarded. Like get the whiteboard behind me. Right. I could. That'll take a while to get though, because it's all the way in my garage and get out the whiteboard. Yeah. It went over went over my head at first, but I got it now. He who ignores discipline hates himself, but he who listens to reproof gets understanding, and the fear of Yahweh is the discipline of wisdom, and before esteem is humility. So that's Proverbs 15 in a nutshell. I think we did pretty good on it. Let's go back and look at the word perverseness up in verse. Shabbat Shalom, Stephanie. Where is it at? That's all the way back up in verse 4. Oh my goodness. So Proverbs 15:4. Proverbs 15:4. Perverseness crushes the spirit. Let's look at that word perverseness and see what we can dig up. A wholesome tongue is a tree of life, but perverseness, Strong's Hebrew number 5558. Strong's defines this as, once my e-sword loads up. Now I got the connectivity curse. Here we go. Salef. Looks like it's the Samik, the Lamed, and the Pei. Distortion. That is viciousness. It says it comes from 5557, which is a primitive root properly to wrench. That is to subvert. So that's almost like usurping someone else's authority. So the tongue of the wise useth knowledge. A wholesome tongue is a tree of life, but perverseness therein is a breach in the spirit. Good choice of words. So looking at this word in Benner's lexicon, 5558, it is number 2485N. So this, look at this, its action is to twist. To twist words, or the way in the sense of perverseness, crookedness, something twisted. That's very relative to what we were just talking about down here in verse 28. The heart of the righteous studieth to answer, but the mouth of the wicked poureth out evil things. So we've got the scene. So we got the actual picture of the thorn here, not the exact Samik, but we got the picture of the thorn, the Lamed, and the Pei. And I think the internet connectivity is too bad. Oh yeah, I won't get the whiteboard out, but what I can do is I've got a marker so I can draw this out. And I do have notebook paper. Going old school. If I had to draw reshes, y'all are going to be just out of luck on that one because I ain't going to do it. I'll just write out resh. All right, so this is for the Facebook people there. It's what it would look like. Scene, Lamed, Pei. For YouTubers, where are you guys? We got the scene, the Lamed, the Pei. So you might see this modernly sometimes depending on whatever they chose to use there as the Samik or the Shin. However, here it's used as the scene. This is the picture of a thorn. It can mean to grab, hate, protect. We got the picture of the Lamed pictographically, and it's the picture of a shepherd's staff. It can mean to what's the word? Goad, like prod, poke, guide, authority. And then we got the Pei, which is a picture of a mouth, but it can mean the edge of something, like the rim around the edge of a cup, or the mouth shape there. Also, what does the function of these things do? A shepherd's staff does denote authority, one in power. It can also be used to hook or grab, pull in, protect the flock of the sheep. It can use to be brought them, guide them along. And then the scene, that picture of a thorn, Yeah, it can mean a thorn. It can represent to hate or protect. You know, a corral of thorns around your flock will protect the predators from the outside coming in to get them, mainly the wolves and coyotes and things of that nature. So what is the word here? Perverseness. So what's spoken from the chief authority or the authoritative word, you know, it's hating that. They're twisting the words. Here we are not protecting. Uh, this is the authoritative word right here, these scriptures. What was spoken from the Most High, his instructions. People are using words to twist man's traditions over the ways of Yah. By that right there in of itself is casting his words behind you, and you're rejecting it, and it's your attitude toward his word, and we're just trampling it underfoot. So that's where we get our English word perverseness out of in this verse here, verse 4, Proverbs 15. A wholesome tongue is a tree of life, so the crookedness to twist words in the way or in the sense of perverseness, therein is a breach in the spirit. So, Yeshua tells us that those, you'll know them by their fruits. Well, oftentimes a person's speech will let you know right off the bat where they are in their walk. And you'll also know right off the bat that if they say one thing but do another, they're double-minded in their way and they're hypocrites. So we can always be very weary of, one, what we're to say, but two, how we're to live out what we say. To practice what you preach. You talk the talk, but do you walk the walk? So pretty basic, pretty simple advice or knowledge there that most of us, I think, know. Think of the parable of the sower, that sown among the thorns is he who hears the word, and the worry of this age, of this world, is, or the deceit thereof, also of the riches, choke out the word, and it becomes fruitless. It's unable to produce the fruit because the thorns choke out the word. Look at that. So the two main ingredients that choke out the word and leave you breathless and unable to bear the fruit of righteousness. And then we sometimes see that we find this due to the crookedness of the tongues of some can cause many to become worried about tomorrow as they hear wicked and twisted reports of what may happen. And in the process, draw people away from the healing truth of the word of Elohim. Let's go to Isaiah 35. Look it up in the prophet. Click over to the scriptures. The ransomed shall return. Let the wilderness and the dry place be glad for them. All right. Here you go. Verse 4. Say to those with anxious heart, be strong, do not fear. See, your Elohim comes with vengeance, with the recompense of Elohim. He is coming to rescue you. Then the eyes of the blind shall be opened, and the ears of the deaf be opened. Then the lame shall leap like a deer, and the tongue of the dumb sing, because waters shall burst forth in the wilderness and streams in the desert. And the parched ground shall become a pool, and the thirsty land springs of water. And the home for jackals, where each lay grass with reeds and rushes. And there shall be a highway and a way, and it shall be called the way of set apartness. The unclean does not pass over it, but it is for those who walk the way, and no fools wander on it. We got a footnote, Psalm 77, verse 13. And that says, your way, O Elohim, is in set apartness. Who is a great El like Elohim? So there's the way right there. And then, who is it? Is it Timothy? Let me Google this one because I don't remember it. No, it's Titus. Titus 1:8, I believe. Titus 1. Nope, it ain't verse 8. Verse 16. It was a multiple of 8. They profess to know Elohim, but in works they deny him, being abominable and disobedient and unfit for any good work. And I quote that because they profess to know him, yet they deny him in the way that they walk, in the way that their lifestyle is. And we got a lot of footnotes on this one in the scriptures, Matthew 7:21 through 23, and it reads, I never knew you. Depart from me, you who work lawlessness or iniquity. Which is, you will know them by their fruits. 2 Peter 2, the whole entire chapter. 1 John 2:4, the one who says, I know him and does not guard his commands is a liar, and the truth is not in him. Again, that is 1 John 2:4. That is not Chris Wilson. That is the New Testament speaking. Jude 1:4, for certain men have slipped in, whose judgment was written about long ago, wicked ones, perverting the favor of Elohim for indecency, and denying the only master, the only master Yahweh and our master Yeshua Messiah. So I'm about out of words. If anyone else wants to ramble on, feel free. Anybody still out there? Did everybody go away? We still got bro? No, it's all me. Not sure if connection made people go or what, but anyway, that's all I've got. Anybody else wants to partake in the discussion? Let me check the chat room and see what's in there. Philemon Oliveras. Hope I didn't butcher that. Brother Tony. Yeah, I'll close that out. We're still on Facebook. Gotcha. I don't really have much else to say, unless you guys just want to hang out. Any word from anybody else out there in the world of Facebook? Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom to you, Stephanie. We just kind of covered Proverbs 15, looked at it from a Hebraic perspective under the influence of King Solomon, and tried to make sense of some of his words of wisdom, fine words of wisdom there that brother had shared. Diane, Shabbat Shalom to you as well. I don't know how long y'all had tuned in for, or how long y'all were on the Facebook Live, but yeah, it was basically just an open discussion of Proverbs chapter 15. And talking about the way of the tongue, how we're to use it. But all the people who shared some very inspiring words of wisdom and testimony, and for those on Facebook who had great comments, really good stuff, really good words that you had to say. So thank you for your input. I value each of your inputs, so that's why I'm real big on seeing you guys comment, because I like to know what you're thinking, what you're feeling, what you're going through, what you're sharing. We will be there in an hour and a half to hang out. All right, sounds good. So we should expect you around 4 o'clock, 4:30. It's not too far. Father Yahweh, we thank you for being able to come together as we have, and thank you for allowing us to share with one another your word that you have given us, to allow each one of us to share our perspectives as we are all trying to learn and discover the secret things, the mysteries of your word, Father, for you have revealed those things to your children to those who seek you with their whole heart. And we just ask that you protect all of those that are in the body and out of the body. We just ask for mercy upon those who don't know the truth yet, Father. And anybody who has health issues, I ask that you bring them into the life of someone who can heal them naturally or help them heal naturally and teach them about proper health and nutrition through whole foods and teach them the truth about your word, Father, and about your son, Yeshua, how to be a servant, a willing servant. And we just thank you for the time spent together. And if there's anybody who's traveled on Shabbat to go to a congregation, a gathering of any sort, we just ask that you protect them in their travels. Place a hedge of protection around your people, Father, and give us discernment. Give us the ability to know the difference between the truth and the counterfeit, the real and the fraud, to be able to stand bold and walk a straight line in a world of darkness and decay. Just ask that you would bless everybody's week from here on out, that you would give them shalom and meet their needs and where they're at, and let us not go without. We thank you, Father. I pray this in Yeshua's name. Hallelujah. Amen. Well, for everybody who is in the world of Facebook, I'm going to click that finish button as much as I don't want to, but we try to do this every other week. Or if I feel up to it, then I do it every week. But I also like to drive up to Cisco so we can all visit in person and fellowship, and the children get to play and see their friends, and it's just nice to be in the presence of the other brethren. So I at least commit to doing this every other week. So every other Shabbat, this is where we're at on YouTube, and this is the first time I've done it on Facebook Live, so I'll start doing it this way too. And so just be looking out for the links that I send out, or the Facebook Live recording, whichever. But yeah, if y'all got any comments or ideas of you want to do, share them with me. I'll try to put them into practice. So till then, Shabbat Shalom, have a healthy day, and we will see you next time. For those still there on the YouTube, I just ended that video. Who's all here? The usual crowd. Well, Shabbat Shalom to you folks there, and nothing is in there to answer on questions, but hey, if y'all got any questions, words you want to be studied at or looked at through the Hebraic language, the Hebraic perspective, let me know. Let me know in the comment section of other videos, and I will get to those. I forget what brother it was that requested to look at the word bless and blessed, or be blessed. I did a 2-part video on that, and I'll post the second part here probably next week, because there's 2 words that in our English are associated with the word blessed. And even though they're the same word in English, they have different connotations in the Hebrew, being ashar and barak. Strong's Hebrew number 833 for ashar, and Strong's Hebrew number 1288 for barak. I had to think about that one. I couldn't remember. So if you want to, you can look up those in your own time and be with me whenever I go to do it. Well, actually, it'll be a pre-recording, so I'm sorry. But you'll at least have some familiarity with the word when you go to look at it. I am going to answer this call from Sister Lynn. Shalom, Lynn.
Shalom, how are you?
I'm doing good. I'm still talking to the YouTube channel people.
Oh, are you? Okay, so I had a quick question.
What's up?
Well, I noticed with me texting into the phone, it was, trying to read my mind. My phone was, and so it was printing out words that I didn't want to say, like I put in PROV for Proverbs, and the word provide came up.
Oh, the autocorrect?
Yes, the autocorrect. So I guess next time I should do the laptop instead of the phone, think?
Whatever you're more comfortable with. Or yeah, you can go in your messages and turn off the autocorrect, but I don't know how to do that on your phone.
Alrighty.
But yeah, whichever you feel more comfortable with, I'm okay with it. Because I'm pretty good at what you're trying to mean, and I can correct it on screen. So.
Well, like when I said lob off, you don't want to lob off their head. It said love.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was kind of frustrating for me. So I should stick with the computer. Yeah.
Yeah, do that. If you like that
All
and that's
right.
easier for you, stick
Have
with
a
it.
good rest of your day.
Thank you. Shalom to you.
Shabbat shalom.
Bye, Lynn. So you folks out there on the YouTube end, I'm going to end it. And y'all, I'll do this again. I like the open discussion. Just getting different opinions and inputs from other people instead of always hearing me talk all the time. I like it better that way. Getting to just each of us share something that's on our heart and maybe read a passage of scripture. So we'll do it again in 2 weeks. Let me look at the date. Hang tight. My slow computer's pulling up the calendar. Let's see. Looks like April 13th will be 2 weeks. I'm sure next Shabbat we'll probably go out to Cisco. And then we'll have to play it by ear, see what's going on. But Yah willing, we'll shoot for April 13th. And then the next Shabbat, April 19th, we'll be going down to Florida for Pesach or Passover. And I will be live streaming, internet willing, connectivity issue willing, from the location there. I'll at least try to record live immersions, baptisms, teachings, and things like that, just to get people to have something to watch, tune into. And that will be April 19th, 20th, 21st, and 22nd, I believe. And then from there, we might be going to Georgia for a couple of days. So just stay tuned and be on the lookout for any videos. And you can always feel free to email me, message me, whichever you like. But y'all have a great, blessed Shabbat and the remainder of your day. And may Yahweh bless you and keep you. May his face shine upon you. May he have his favor. And I'll have that memorized one day. And may he give you a shalom. And I appreciate you guys. Yahweh bless you all. Until next time.